You're lying in bed right now, or sitting on a bus, or pretending to work while your mind is somewhere else entirely. You're in the middle of a conversation that doesn't exist. Winning an argument from 3 years ago. Confessing something you never had the guts to say out loud. Living an entire life that your real one never gave you. And the strangest part? Your heart is actually pounding, your chest is tight, your eyes might even be watering over something that never happened. You've never told anyone you do this because you're convinced it means something is wrong with you. It doesn't, but what it actually means might surprise you more than you expect. Everyone around you has the same advice. Stop overthinking. Just live in the moment. You're wasting energy on stuff that isn't even real. And you've tried. Your brain knows you've tried. But it keeps doing it anyway. Not because you're weak, but because this habit serves a purpose that goes so deep, your conscious mind doesn't even have access to it. Psychology has a name for what's happening inside your head. Several names, actually. And none of them mean what you think they mean. Picture this. You have a difficult conversation coming up next week. The moment you know it's happening, your brain starts running it. You hear yourself talking. You see their face shift. You test one version, it flops. So your brain quietly rewrites the scene and hits play again. This is called prospective mental simulation. Your brain is building a rehearsal of reality before reality shows up. It's not torturing you, it's protecting you. It maps out dozens of outcomes so that when the real moment arrives, nothing catches you completely off guard. And this is exactly why you always imagine the worst version first. Your nervous system treats emotional surprise like a physical threat. It would rather make you feel fake pain 20 times than let real pain hit you once without warning. So that moment when you walk into a room and think, I already knew this would happen, that wasn't intuition. That was your brain collecting the payoff for a simulation it ran at 3 a.m. while you thought you were just overthinking. But that only covers the scenarios you build on purpose. What about the ones that hit you out of nowhere while you're folding laundry or staring at a wall? There's a system in your brain called the default mode network. The second you stop paying attention to the outside world, this network switches on, automatically, like a screensaver that boots up the instant your screen goes idle, and it starts generating scenarios. Old conversations, future confrontations, lives you didn't choose. This is not a malfunction. This is your brain's factory setting. Silence doesn't make your mind wander. Silence is the invitation your mind has been waiting for. So the next time you catch yourself in an entire imaginary courtroom drama while brushing your teeth, understand this. Your brain didn't drift off somewhere strange. It went to the place it always goes when you stop telling it where to look. Now stay with me here, because this next part is where most people suddenly go quiet. Those scenarios don't just live in your head. Your body believes them. Your stomach drops during an imaginary breakup. Your jaw clenches during an argument with someone who isn't in the room. You've wiped tears over a goodbye that only existed behind your eyes. Neuroscience calls this affective forecasting. Your brain creates a fictional situation and forces your body to live through it emotionally. It's asking one question. Can we survive this if it becomes real? That fight with your father you've rehearsed 100 times but never actually had? Your body has already processed every version of that pain. You have grieved conversations that never took place. And yes, that is exhausting. But your nervous system does it for a reason. So that if the real moment ever comes, you don't break apart. You've already practiced bending. But here's an angle that almost nobody talks about, and it might be the most honest one. In real life, you can't control how people react to you. You can't pick the right words every time. You can't rewind and try again. But inside your head, you run the whole show. You're the writer and the lead actor. You always say the exact thing that makes them understand. You always get to be enough. And if you've spent a big part of your life feeling invisible or unheard, those mental scenarios become the one place where you finally have power, where your voice actually lands the way you meant it to. That's not weakness. That's your brain building you a room where you matter. The question is whether you're using that room to prepare for real life or to replace it. And this is the part that nobody wants to hear, but you need to. There's a line between using these scenarios and living inside them. And most people cross it without noticing. You rehearse a conversation so many times that you never actually have it. You picture success so clearly that the real effort feels pointless. You replay a painful memory so often that you stay anchored to a version of yourself that should have been left behind years ago. The tool your brain built to prepare you quietly becomes the place you hide. You get frustrated with real people for not following the script you wrote for them in your head. That's the cost. The problem starts when the rehearsal becomes more comfortable than the performance. So the next time you catch yourself deep in a scenario, ask one honest question. Am I preparing for something real or hiding from something I'm afraid to face? You don't need to stop the scenarios. You just need to notice which ones are doors and which ones are walls. There's one more piece to this puzzle, and it explains why certain scenarios keep coming back no matter what you do. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain fixates on things that feel unfinished, an argument where you stayed quiet, a goodbye that came too fast, a moment where someone hurt you and you just nodded and said, "It's fine," when it absolutely was not fine. Your mind keeps rewriting those moments because the emotional file was never closed. It's an open tab running in the background of your brain, pulling energy you don't realize you're spending. And the longer it stays open, the louder it gets. And it will keep replaying until one of two things happens. You find a way to express what was never said, or you accept that some conversations will never get their proper ending. Some loops close with words. Others close with letting go. When you look at all of this as one picture, what you're really looking at is a mind that refuses to sit still, not because it's broken, because it cares too much. About people, about outcomes, about versions of your life you haven't lived yet, and versions you can't let go of. You've spent years in rooms that don't exist, talking to people who aren't there, feeling things that never technically happened. And most of the world would call that a problem. But all of that quietly made you someone who understands people in a way most never will. Maybe the question you've been carrying all this time was never, "Why can't I stop doing this?" Maybe the question your mind has been waiting for is, "What are you trying to show me that I keep looking away from?"